Hey, what's up everybody? Sweatahvest here, and it's been a long time since I've made a video, but I'm happy to announce that I'm back, and today I've got a special video for you guys to celebrate Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm doing another collaboration with my good friend Twilight Chronos.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back to give you our thoughts.
So, what me and Twilight Chronos wanted to do, we're huge Kingdom Hearts fans. We wanted to do a series of videos leading up to a retrospective about Kingdom Hearts 3, so in the coming months, hopefully not, hopefully it won't take that long, but it's going to be a lot of videos. We're going to be talking about all sorts of different aspects of the series as a whole, as well as some core mechanics that are present and not present in Kingdom Hearts 3. So today, specifically, we're going to be talking about the evolution of Kingdom Hearts with specific emphasis on our own personal stories of the series.
Yes, this is going to be more like a podcast style kind of discussion, whereas in our dot hack video that we brought to you guys a few months back, it sounded really scripted. There was a lot of uhs and, you know, stuff like that, but there's going to be none of that here because we both finally played the game and we both already have similar knowledge of the game series in general, so it's going to be a more natural flowing conversation instead of sounding like a scripted video.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are going to kind of tell as we're talking. We definitely know our stuff about Kingdom Hearts. I mean, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts since it first came out, since I was a little kid. So I have an absolute love for this series. And I hopefully that will kind of show through our discussion. But to start it off, of course, we got to start from the beginning. Kingdom Hearts 1, PS2, back in 2002. So, Twilight, what is your
Uh,
experience with Kingdom Hearts?
my first time experiencing Kingdom Hearts, I had just moved to this new city, um, Copper's Cove, and I got into some trouble, mischievous teenager, and I had to wind up going to a place called the Methodist Mission Home in San Antonio. And it was mostly a place for deaf people and people with learning disabilities or just some kind of handicap. And that's where I picked up learning how to speak sign language and all that. But during the course of my stay there, that's where I saw the very first TV commercial for Kingdom Hearts, and I remember what hooked me, that I just got to get this game. I just got to get this game was the visuals in the trailer and the song. The song is what really sold me on the game in the trailer,
Hmm.
and but there was a problem. I didn't have a PS2, so
Yeah.
so I worked at the Methodist Mission Home for 6 months, saving up what daily allowances they would give me and everything so that I could buy uh, Kingdom Hearts 2 and a PS2. And eventually I did get it, and once I did, it was just love. I couldn't stop playing it, and my chores started going by the wayside over at the Methodist Mission Home because I would not get off the game. And so they actually wind up have to pretty much ban me or ground me from it until each day until I had everything done for the day. And it would be all I could really talk about. Like, imagine me sign languaging to these, to deaf students that were there, just
Mhm.
only about Kingdom Hearts. Like, always using the hearts hand sign and
A lot of darkness hand signs.
explaining. And when I try to explain to them in sign language, they kind of cock their head to the side, looking like a little confused.
Mhm.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah. That's not too far off with how convoluted the story gets, but for me, Kingdom Hearts 1 was a big part of my childhood. Some of my favorite games growing up were like Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, and then, of course, Kingdom Hearts. So, the main reason I love it so much, though, is a big bonding experience for me and my older brother. We actually didn't own Kingdom Hearts 1, though. We rented it. Well, actually, first, we borrowed it from a friend and we were hooked. So I never played it first. My older brother played it. And as like a little kid, like a little brother especially, you definitely look up to what your older brother's playing. So like watching him play Kingdom Hearts and especially like Tarzan's World, I think that's the one that hooked me the most. Watching that just I was enthralled. I was absolutely in love. Like I wanted to try it myself. So we returned it back to our friend and then we rented it back at Blockbuster when that was a thing. And I'm
Good old
almost
Blockbuster.
yeah, I'm almost positive we kept it for way longer than we should have for the rental period, but it was completely worth it. But we steamrolled that crap. Like we went all the way really, really quickly. Um, I didn't get super far because I was so young, and it wasn't until after Kingdom Hearts 2 that I went back and played it Kingdom Hearts 1 fully. And I was a little bit older, so I could appreciate it way more. And I remember distinctly the fight against Riku in what was it, Hollow Bastion was just so brutally tough. And the worst part too, I was probably playing on standard, so it wasn't even proud mode or anything, but it still gave me such a hard time. Couldn't get the parry counters right, the timing was all off, but it was just such a visceral experience. Like I kept failing, and then that one time that I actually succeeded in the fight, it just felt just amazing. Like I haven't had that same feeling in gaming in such a long time. The closest I really get to that is probably like Dark Souls or Bloodborne. That visceral feeling where any moment you get so close and you're whittling the health bar down and your palms get all sweaty, your heart starts beating fast, you know, like any slight mistake and you're screwed, you know? So I mean that was such a great experience for me.
I still get feelings like that playing other games. Not so much with Kingdom Hearts anymore, just because I've played it pretty much every game, and I've just grown accustomed to the bullshittiness of a lot of the bosses,
Yeah.
and you figure out over the years all the tricks and nuances to uh, for example, you could level 1 a boss if you choose the whole no experience, because if you choose the whole no experience ability, then it maxes out all your stats. Um, well, your strength, your magic, and your defense, but you're level 1, so you don't have all those abilities,
Yeah.
and you have very little health, like the starter health, and you have the starter magic. So you have to be really careful what you do, especially on the final mix version of Kingdom Hearts 1. And before I go any further, I know there are probably people that have not played parts 1, 2, or some of these other games, so there will be a mild spoiler warning from here on out. Just in case. I mean, I know they are older games, and anybody can play them at any time now, but just in case there are people saving um,
hmm
that experience for later, we just want to let you know that there is a mild to moderate spoiler warning in effect here. Because we don't want nobody in the comments getting triggered like, oh, I haven't played that yet.
Yeah.
So, going into that, you said your fight against Riku in Hollow Bastion.
Yeah.
When you finally find out what's going on, and that's where the story mainly takes its whole twist, because Kyrie's just lying there unconscious.
hmm See, I've heard a lot of people actually talk about that scene too, and it's really interesting because that's like the big reveal that, oh, Kyrie, she was actually within Sora's heart the entire time, and that's why like nobody else could have reawoken her, you know? And a lot of people are like, well, when did that happen? And it's so interesting too because that scene back on Destiny Islands at the beginning, right before the world falls to darkness, and Kyrie like pretty much freaking flies at Sora, and then she disappears like all ephemeral like a ghost. A lot of people are like, what was that? Like, was that like a metaphor for something? And when I was younger, I thought that's what it was too. I wasn't really aware. It was quite literally like her heart transferring into Sora, you know?
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't understand about the whole Kingdom Hearts game series in general is
hmm
that I didn't understand this quite until I think the second game, Kingdom Hearts 2, when you realize that the game is not about the Disney characters. It's not about the Disney worlds. Those are just flavor and padding for the game.
Uh-huh.
The story is actually about Sora, Riku, Kairi, Organization 13. It's about them. And when you think about the story in retrospect, it's really not for kids. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
if you get
Yeah.
down to it, I mean, kids can play it because of the whole Disney thing, and there's really no blood or anything, but just the themes, about light, darkness, death, and rebirth, and
hmm I
you
mean,
know,
more than just like thematically, though, the game handles the gameplay in a really interesting way too. Where at the base value, like you can play it on what is it, beginner? Is that the term they use for it?
yeah, I believe beginner was the first difficulty,
Yeah,
I believe.
beginner, standard, proud, and then critical later on in like final mix in the later series. But what I think is so interesting is like even beginner and standard though, you could go through without that much trouble. It's relatively easy. It's a fun, good time platform, especially Kingdom Hearts 1. And I read interviews with him more, and he was saying like after the popularity of Super Mario 64, he really wanted to play with the idea of 3D levels and platforming, and that's really evident in Kingdom Hearts 1, more so than really any other part of the series. And it's nice in a way, like it's very forgiving. But the thing I love about Kingdom Hearts is that, like you said, you can have no EXP, so you can do a level 1 run. You can really handicap yourself in a lot of ways. And all of a sudden, this fun time kiddie game with Disney characters, Goofy and Donald running around, becomes really difficult. It has this layer of complexity to it, too, that I love. Like, with the tech points, especially in Kingdom Hearts 1, it rewarded you with extra experience for trying new combat methods instead of just like wailing and mashing X, which a lot of people fault Kingdom Hearts for. They're always like, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts, that's just mash X." But no, like Kingdom Hearts 1 introduced the tech system, and you get rewarded for taking risk, doing parries, attacking at the same time as an opponent. So there was a lot more intricacy involved. Only if you wanted it, though. That's the thing I love so much about it. There's this
And
layered experience. So like as you get older and you grow up, so does the game in a way. Because when I was a kid, of course I'm not gonna know about these things, and I'm not really gonna challenge proud mode. But as I got older, proud mode seemed more and more doable, and then the extra challenge, the super bosses, all of those made the game feel more mature, which was really really interesting.
yeah, and regarding the tech system, I didn't figure it out until my second playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 1. But what I found out with the tech system was you could challenge Waka, and Waka was the best one
Yeah.
to do it with. And you could literally, just recently, a few months ago, before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, there was this guy that reached level,
Uh-huh.
100 or 99 or
99.
100 at the very beginning of Destiny Islands before the island gets destroyed just by doing the whole Waka stuff.
Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I absolutely love about the Kingdom Hearts fan base too. People are absolutely insane. Like there's that. So somebody reached level 99 on Destiny Islands without leaving, and then as Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 2 in the prologue, somebody
Yeah, it
reached
was the
level
same
99
guy.
at that too.
It was
Yeah,
the same guy.
it was the same guy. Really, jeez.
Yeah.
Guys. I love that though. People in the fandom are just so passionate about it. They try so many wild things, and that's the other thing too. Because of the complexity in the combat, Kingdom Hearts as a whole, not just the first one, but the series as a whole, has developed a really, really interesting speedrunning community. I'm not super into speedrunning, but I'll watch it every once in a while. But people, they perfected it, really. The combat system, even though it's simple at face value, it's just got so much to it to love.
And it wasn't just about the pressing the X button all the time. There were
Yeah.
abilities that, like you could press square to do additional slashes in the air. I believe, I don't know if that was in Kingdom Hearts 1, but I know it was in 2.
Yeah.
Like in mid-air combo, you just mash square and he does a side thing, and it just keeps him right there, and it doesn't knock him away, and so you could just keep doing like that until, they enter boss mode, and then they jump away and your combo's over, and then you gotta defend until you can do that again. But the the what really made, and my last say on Kingdom Hearts 1 for this
Mhm.
is what really made Kingdom Hearts 1 for me was when I bought and imported a Japanese PS2 because I really wanted to see the difference between the version we got and the final mix, which was over in Japan, and I
Yeah.
heard there was extra scenes and extra stuff in that one, so I really wanted to see that. And so when I got my Japanese PS2 and the final mix game for Kingdom Hearts 1, I was surprised to find out that in Maleficent's castle, after you reach a certain point in the game, you could return back there, and
Yeah.
you see your first appearance of an Organization 13 member who is
Yeah.
the optional secret boss fight. And the thing is, we knew nothing about Organization 13 at the time. We just thought it was just this hooded guy that looked menacing. And it turned out, even to this day, he's still one of the hardest bosses I think I've ever fought against in any Kingdom Hearts game. And
Yeah.
as I said, mild spoiler warning, but it turns out to be Zennis, the main boss from Kingdom Hearts 2.
The thing I love about it too, like those encounters, like was it? I think his name in that, because they don't reveal that it's Xemnas. I think he's called the Enigmatic Man.
He's, unknown.
Unknown. Okay. Him and then the Lingering Will in Kingdom Hearts 2. Both of them are secret bosses, and they're only available in Final Mix, so you assume to yourself, oh, well, this is just like a little fan nod. Like, it's probably not that important. But what's cool is it actually has story ramifications, because in 358 over 2, Xemnas mentions to the fact that he had met Sora previously. And he says this to Roxas and goes, Roxas, you look just like Sora. And he's referencing the fact that he had fought Sora in Hollow Bastion then. And I absolutely love the fact that that little offshoot fight actually happened. Like, it's canonical too, which is so cool to me.
Yeah. Going into though, this video starting to get long. We're at 15 minutes and 43 seconds. I think we could keep it to I think a 25-minute mark, maybe 30, but I wouldn't go much more than that.
Okay.
I can cut that part out though. So,
Yeah.
the going into Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and we're going to talk about both the Game Boy Advance and the Rechain on the PS2 version.
Yep.
I'll let you start that one off.
Oh, yeah, Chain of Memories is just such an interesting game because that's when the story really starts to turn, for lack of a better term, really anime. You got no more like, it's less emphasis on Disney, even though you still revisit the Disney worlds via like the memory doors, I guess. I love the emphasis on the organization fights because this is the first time you're seeing these hooded figures. They look so cool. They've got great fights. That amazing OST for when you fight Axel is great. And then Castle Oblivion as a whole is just such an interesting concept. This weird amalgamation of like towers and buildings jutting off to the sides. And just the name. The name's so beautiful. Chain of Memories. Like, leave it to Nomura to come up with such a cool name, you know? And then Castle Oblivion as a whole, like, as you scale the tower, Sora starts to lose his memories. That's just a really cool concept too. I honestly really enjoy Chain of Memories. A lot of people in the fandom, they're not a big fan of it. Mainly because of the combat system. I like the combat system. I thought it was kind of interesting. It was a new little slant on Kingdom Hearts 1. And that's something I gotta say about the series as a whole. Every game introduces something new, and every game kind of builds upon what came before it. And I can really appreciate that, because it never got super stale, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is, the combat system really, it had a lot of depth. It's the combat system at times was just so frustrating. You really did not want to learn that depth.
Yeah, I agree. That thing too is like there's a lot of exploits you can do. I can't remember the exact what is it called? Command slates?
Yeah, command slates. Yeah, where you do like the moves that Sora had in Kingdom Hearts 1. You know, like throw your Keyblade, Ars Arcanum, Trinity.
Then there's like a whole bunch of other ones. Like it changes all like Sonic Rave and like Strike Surge and all those, and like modifies of the elements if you add like the elemental card to it. That's a cool system, but there was some that were just straight broken. Like if you just spam the same ones over and over again, you can break any card that your opponent will throw at you. That and like zeros, even though they're rare and hard to find, zero cards will break literally anything.
Yes, but it all depends on the timing of the zero cards too. If you play a zero card before they play their card, their card can break your zero card.
Right, and then inversely, like if you play it after, it'll break theirs, which is cool. I like that. But yeah, I agree, it could get frustrating. I don't hate it though, honestly. I thought it was an interesting system. And then
the story element for that, it also introduced something which is very prominent in 358 over 2 days and Kingdom Hearts 3, and we saw our first glimpse of it in Chain of Memories, and that's the replicas.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I thought the replicas were pretty interesting, and I like the fact that they brought them back in Kingdom Hearts 3, because I was worried that they weren't really going to do much with that. And for it to have played such a big role as it did in 3, I'm going to try to avoid spoilers because Kingdom Hearts 3 is still so new. I really like that. I thought it was pretty nice that they have all these like unanswered questions or like lingering plot points, and he just didn't forget about them. Nomura delivered on a lot of those things, and I can appreciate that.
And I remember, speaking of Kingdom Hearts moments, my very first moment where I actually knew where I had actually fallen in love with the characters happened in Kingdom Hearts 1, when, mild spoiler, he takes the Keyblade and juts it into his own heart.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there going, no!
Yeah, it's a
Well,
wild moment.
uh, and that was one of the first moments that I actually teared up. And then uh, the ending to that first game when Kyrie's walking along inside the cave and she sees the other
Yeah.
drawing of the Palpu fruit, and
Hmm.
I was just like, oh man,
Yeah, that is such a beautiful scene. Yeah, when she draws the other hand extending the Palpu to Sora.
yeah,
It's gorgeous. Dude, speaking of like really emotional and like beautiful moments, 358 over 2 days has so many.
yes,
Especially that last moment. Again, spoilers. Hopefully you've played it. It's such a good game. And it's criminally underrated. But that last scene with Shion when she like fades away and Roxas says, "Who am I gonna have ice cream with now?" It's such a
just
powerful moment.
oh yeah, right in the feels.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Especially when that's after like she takes off the hood and she looks
Hmm.
exactly like Sora but
Yeah.
female.
Yep.
Yeah, that moment. Yeah, because I remember seeing that and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So, but that was before we all knew. Like I said, mild spoiler warning. Um, we just thought she was holding on to some of Sora's memory. We didn't know
Hmm.
that she was basically
Yeah.
becoming him
Yeah. She was a
until that
replica.
scene.
Yeah. And man, 358 over 2 days was good. The combat, definitely not my favorite. I think it was limited by the fact that I was on DS. I kind of wish that when they did the remixes 1.5 and 2.5, I kind of wish they had done like a full remaster for 358 over 2, kind of like they did for Dream Drop Distance.
Well, I got the 1.5 and the 2.5 remix on the
Uh-huh.
PS4, the bundle,
Yeah.
and in it comes with Kingdom Hearts 1, Birth by Sleep, Chain of Memories, or Rechain of Memories,
Yeah.
and then it also comes with 358 over 2 days, but it's just the story.
That's what I'm
And
saying. I
and the
like
thing
the
is,
cutscenes, and I like that they remastered them, but it's just so. It's just a missed opportunity that they didn't remaster the gameplay, you know?
yeah, 358 over 2 days was one of the games that I actually never played.
Okay.
So which is why when before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, about a couple months before Kingdom Hearts 3 come out, I bought it and I went through it, all the games in there, and all the ones I had to watch,
Hmm.
just to get a refresher and also look at the ones that I uh,
Yeah.
didn't play, and then that's when I watched 358 by 2 days,
Hmm.
and I was just like, oh, okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So, and I had a, and it wound up being important in 3. So I'm actually really glad I did that.
Yeah. I
Because
understand. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say because I really just only had a vague idea of who Xion was.
Hmm.
Uh, I just thought she was, because like I said, I didn't play it and I only knew very little. I just thought she was somebody really close to Roxas,
Yeah.
um, and something happened and they wound up having to fight and Roxas killed her
Hmm.
or whatever. That's what I thought, but that wasn't the case at all.
Yeah, there's definitely more to it. I understand their decision not to remaster the gameplay just because it is one of the weaker entries in the series when it comes to gameplay. That and Recoded, the two that don't have gameplay segments. But I mean, even if it's one of the weaker segments, it's still gameplay, and I'm not going to shy away from having more playable Kingdom Hearts all on one system. 358, though, I know back when it had first come out, a lot of people didn't. Well, 358 came after 2, right? Not canonically, like story wise, but I think the release came after because it alludes and references a lot of the characters and events of 2.
It
And I
was
think it's.
either after 2 or
I
yeah,
want to say it's. I want to say it's after.
yeah, I kind of want to say it's after 2. If we're wrong, please feel free to correct us in the comments down
Yeah.
below.
But I like the fact that it's after 2 because 2, and a lot of people have very strong opinions about the opening for 2. I personally love the opening for 2. I thought it was such a brilliant way to do it. You become invested in this character Roxas, and this is why I'm saying it's great because if you hadn't played 358 over 2 days, and I'm positive at this point now that it came after, you have no idea who this guy is. This blonde-haired kid you've never seen before. All you're thinking is, "Where's Sora? I want to play as Sora." Instead, you're stuck playing 3 hours of this kid's summer. Essentially, you're
And if
doing
you
miscellaneous chores. What's up?
and if you didn't know what you were doing in that intro could take as long as 6 hours.
Yeah,
If that's how long it took me my first time, because about each day took me about an hour, because I at the time I was out of school at the time, but I was also living on my own, and I had a roommate living with me who would be playing his games. So,
Hmm.
uh, and
Yeah,
he would
stuff
encourage. He was a
counts.
Kingdom Hearts fan too, and he would uh, encourage me to do everything in the area, do everything in the area. I was like, I don't want to. I just want to get to the
Yeah,
story
yeah.
because I generally like to get through the story first and then go back and do everything because that's a bad habit of mine. I'll sit
Hmm.
there and I will rush through the story and do as little grinding as possible just to get to the end, and then go back on a second playthrough and do everything and get the secret ending and the secret epilogue and stuff like that.
Yeah. Um, so what I was saying though, with Kingdom Hearts 2, with the tutorial or the intro segment, even though it's super long and you're like, wow, I just want to play a Sora, all I'm doing instead is doing chores. I'm working part-time jobs. I'm saving money to go to the beach. I'm doing struggle tournaments. Why? You know? And I think that's just such a brilliant opening though, because thematically, Roxas's existence doesn't really matter. And spoilers here, Roxas is a nobody of Sora. And he is not actually living a real life within Twilight Town. He's within a data simulation created by Diz, or Ansem the Wise. And it's a means to the end. He's trying to reawaken Sora, and he needs Roxas's memories to flood back into Sora. So what's such a beautiful end to this summer is when Roxas finally finds out the truth and he starts to regain his memories. He has his final clash with Axel and brandishes Oblivion and Oathkeeper. Total badass scene. Defeats Axel and then goes into the Chamber of Awakening and he sees Sora. And as the pod opens and Roxas fades away and merges back with Sora, he says, I guess my summer vacation's over. And that,
The Go ahead.
uh huh.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's just such a beautiful scene because if you think about it, if you've never played 358/2 and you don't know who Roxas is, you are thinking, I don't care about this kid. I want to play as Sora. And in the same way, even the game itself is telling that story. They're saying Roxas doesn't matter. It's about Sora. Roxas is giving up his existence for Sora. And I think that's a really cool way to mix the emotions that the player's feeling with what the game is trying to tell, you know?
Yeah, and the funny thing I found about that intro too is essentially, if you really think about it, you are playing Sora during those 3 hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but as far as him fighting Axel at the end there, before he gets reawakened, my speculation on that, I think Axel let him win.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, because first off, they're best friends and he doesn't want to kill him. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, after the fight, they had this little discussion, and then before Axel fades, I don't know if I don't think he actually faded away there.
No, he
I
doesn't.
think he opened the portal. I remember him fading away. I don't remember if he faded or if it was a portal. It's been a hot second.
I want to say it was just a portal because he is pretty important in Kingdom Hearts 2 because he's like kidnapping Kairi and then he like saves her and then sacrifices himself within the corridor of darkness to save Sora.
But what
So
really
he doesn't fade.
Yeah, but what really hit home with me in that scene was their discussion after the fight, and he goes, dummy, just because you have a second life, you know. And then he fades away, and then and that line combined with the music that was playing at the time, the na 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 na, you know. Na 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 na. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Why you gotta
it's
make me
heartbreaking.
like this guy so much already?
Yeah, man. Axel is honestly one of my favorite characters. He is just so. I think everybody has to agree with him too, and I think the game knows that too. Because in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm not gonna say spoilers, but there's so many moments where Axel says something, and it just feels like a crazy fourth wall break. And it's like I
Yeah.
love the fact that he knows everybody loves him. You know?
Yeah, and I don't know if you consider this a spoiler or not, so I'll just say light spoiler for 3. It's just I feel him and Kyrie both are really underutilized.
Yeah. No, I'd agree.
That's all I'm gonna say on that until we get to that topic.
Yeah.
As far as Rechain of Memories goes, though, going back on that really quickly, I think Rechain of Memories did it better, way better than the Game Boy Advance Chain of Memories, because the system, it just flowed better. It could be because it was on a console, but I actually did not mind playing through and doing everything in that one and learning the nuances of the combat system in that one, simply because we had the full dialogue, fully voiced and everything like that. We didn't have to do as much reading. Yes, it was still frustrating at times, but it was not as frustrating as the Game Boy Advance one, because I remember there were times on the Game Boy Advance to where my fingers, because the Game Boy Advance was so small and my hands were so big, and I just had trouble on the Game Boy Advance, whereas on the PS2 it was just so much easier, and I understood the mechanics more.
Speaking of voice acting within Chain of Memories, I think it's so interesting and kind of funny in a way that Chain of Memories comes like right after Kingdom Hearts 1. After closing the Door of Darkness, they start their journey right out and they find Castle Oblivion. I think it's funny though that in Chain of Memories, because it but like it was created after 2 and it was released after 2. Haley Joel Osment, the voice actor for Sora, he's matured a lot since Kingdom Hearts 1.
So it's weird to see him. It's weird to see Sora in his clown outfit or whatever with an older voice.
Deep ass voice. Yeah, it's just really weird. Especially when you think about it. It's like directly after Kingdom Hearts 1. So like little young Sora, he's got this big boy voice all of a sudden. It's just jarring. But I mean, ultimately, that actors change their voices, It's
and I think Rechain came out after 2, I believe.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
And then what was the next one on that? That was
after 2 would be Recoded.
Recoded. That one is also another one I actually never played, but I watched it.
Same.
And that's the one with Data Sora.
Yep.
And
they take Jiminy's journal and they make a data simulation of it.
Because it was corrupted or something, and I was just like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. That's the thing with Kingdom Hearts. Like, at that point, and a little bit of 2, it starts getting really digital. Because, like, Anson the Wise loves digitizing shit for just no apparent reason. Like, he tried to digitize the artificial Kingdom Hearts in KH2, and then there's, like, the Tron world and the Door to Darkness. That's, like, the digital scape. There's just so much digital stuff going on that Recoded just became a little convoluted. I also don't think Recoded was the most plot heavy. The big takeaway, in my opinion, from Recoded was the connections between Sora and different people, and the fact that he can and will save them in the future.
Yeah. Aside from that, we really didn't learn too much story-wise when it came to the game. The only thing we actually found out in the after credit scene for that game was we actually found out what was written on the note that Kairi and Riku and Sora were reading on the beach in the cinematic ending to it was the after credits ending to Kingdom Hearts 2. And we finally found out. And so what happened in the datascape, he was currently writing a letter, Mickey was, and he sent that letter off, so we finally found out what it said there, and that was good to know. If you want to find out what it said, you could easily find it on YouTube or any reliable source if you want to know what it says. I don't remember the exact words of what it says, but I do remember I was all like, oh!
Yeah.
So,
the other thing I like, too, is that there's that nod to Chain of Memories, because, if you guys weren't aware, in Chain of Memories, at the very end, Sora gets put into a slumber so he can reform his memories. Because as I said, as you ascend Castle Oblivion, you start to lose your memories. So Naminé and Diz, they put Sora within a slumber, and then they transfer him to Twilight Town. So he loses his memories of all the events of Chain of Memories. And that's pretty evident in Kingdom Hearts 3. But what I love is in Recoded, when Jiminy opens the journal, there's a mention. And on one page, there's just 2 words. And it says, thank Naminé.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so cool because there's that shred of memory, So Naminé is not going to disappear from their minds. And I love that because she was honestly a cool character.
My only issue with Coded, oh my god, the biggest issue with Coded, and it could just be me not understanding, Roxas in Castle Oblivion.
Yeah. I was not 100% sure about that either, to tell you the truth.
I was like, But he wasn't there. Unless it was just personification. But the thing is, it was Data Sora
Uh-huh.
going through it because real Sora was still asleep at this time. So I believe he was, wasn't he?
I think
I think
so.
because, and this was Data Sora, so Roxas should have had no business being
Yeah.
being there because Data Sora would have no knowledge of him at all.
Yeah, Nomura really likes just throwing Roxas and things because in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, there's that additional scene, and I don't know why they left it out because it's so important. But I'm talking about the one where he first arrives within the world that never was, and I'm talking about Sora. And he's walking through the dark city, and he's approaching like that big tower with the TV, and he falls into the Station of Awakening, like that big platform area with like the stained glass floor. And
Yeah,
Roxas is there, and they had the freaking coolest fight. And it's just like a struggle for identity, you know? Roxas is screaming out, his very entity, his soul is clashing with Sora because he wants to exist, you know? Just a beautiful scene, but like why they left that out in the original is just beyond me.
no,
You know?
that fight was there in our Kingdom Hearts 2.
Was it? I don't
Yes,
remember that.
yes, it was there.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
The when you get I believe in that moment though, because after the fight and you come back, Donald and Goofy are like, "Who are you talking to?" Next thing, you were there, and then you weren't, and then now you're here again.
Uh-huh.
And Sora was like, "Did you see that guy?" And they were like, "What guy?" I believe that what actually happened is Roxas pulled Sora into his own heart, and that's where the fight took place.
Okay. Yeah, Nomura's just really into the whole like metaphysical stuff though. And I like that. But it gets kind of wild sometimes.
Yeah, it just there are definitely moments, a lot of moments in Kingdom Hearts where you're just sitting there and you're like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but this is
Yeah.
so cool. But it's so confusing, but it's so
Yeah.
cool.
Speaking
Uh,
of crazy metaphysical stuff, Birth by Sleep has got a lot of them. The
I
very first scene opening up, you got Ventus like being pretty much comatose, like in a body bag, and Xehanort drops him off at Destiny Islands, and his heart calls out and it's answered by Sora, right?
as a little kid, yeah, that's why Sora doesn't. He was a little kid when he went into Sora's heart. That,
Yep.
and I was just sitting there because I remember I was telling my friend about that before Kingdom Hearts 3 come out, and he goes, "Yeah, Ventus went into Sora's heart when Sora was just a little kid on Destiny Islands, long before they had become Keyblade masters or Keyblade wielders, or
Uh-huh.
before they had ever met Aqua or Terra." And I told him that, he was like, "How the hell? That doesn't make any sense." And I'm like, it happened. And he goes, "No, I don't believe you." So I showed him the clip, and he goes,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?"
Yeah, that moment for me too is like, what the fuck? And then I thought about it. I was like, holy hell, like this explains so much because up until this point, it's assumed that when a heart succumbs to darkness, but it's strong enough to fight back, the heart is like split, right? And a
No,
nobody is created.
yeah, and or it'll seek refuge in somebody else.
Right. So up until this point, though, the nobodies that we've seen have been shells of the appearance of their somebody. So, for instance, Axel, we have his somebody Lei, or Lee. I think it's Lee. You have
Yeah,
Lee, and they look identical, minus the little like upside down tear marks. But I mean, that's literally just like a tattoo or something. Like he
yeah,
could rub it off.
yeah.
But other
He
than
takes
that,
those off later.
yeah. Other than that, though, identical. So it's like, why the hell does Roxas look different than Sora? And then you see Birth by Sleep, and you're like, wait a second. This Ventus looks a lot like Roxas. This is starting to make a little sense.
And that's why I think Roxas became Sora's nobody,
Yep.
because first off, he already had Ventus's heart inside himself, and so when Sora thrust that Keyblade into himself, he
Mhm.
created Roxas, and the reason why Roxas took on that appearance is because if you think about it, Roxas really isn't Sora's nobody. He's Ventus's nobody, because
Yeah.
because it was Ventus's heart inside Sora's,
Mm-hmm.
and so by thrusting that Keyblade in there, he made a nobody,
Yeah.
and that nobody looks like Ventus. So I have a
That's
theory that that's
That's also
Ventus's
probably the
nobody.
reason why Sora could exist at the same time as Roxas. Because all the others, like Marluxia and the rest of the members of Organization 13, they can't exist at the same time as their somebody. It's not until their death that they get reformed.
Yeah, recompleted. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
thing is, though, there's a little snafu, because when when Sora thrust that Keyblade into himself, he turned into a small Heartless,
Hmm.
a little bit, and then that's what created this nobody. But then he got reformed, which was, I still think to this day, a fucking ass pull. Uh,
Well, wasn't it Kyrie's heart that reacts with Sora's and saves him from the darkness? Because she like she like hugs onto the heartless form of Sora and like holds him close, and then like light starts pouring out of the connection between the two of them, and Sora regains his appearance.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, because Xehanort had Ansem, which was his Heartless,
Yeah.
and then
Xemnas.
Xemnas, which was his Nobody.
Yeah.
So, in theory, Sora should have a human-shaped form, Heartless.
Well,
And
would
that's
you
that's where I
consider...
that's where I go into Vanitas.
Yeah, I was about to say, would you consider him a heartless almost? Because he's like a weird situation there.
He's supposed to be the darkness out of Ventus's heart.
Isn't that what a heartless is, though? Heartlesses are the darknesses within a human heart.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't explain why why Ventus's darkness looks like Sora, unless it because
Well,
this was before his heart jumped into Sora.
Well, Vanitas was formed afterwards. Vanitas was formed after Ventus's fragmented heart takes refuge in Sora. So when his heart succumbs to darkness, Vanitas is created. In a way, I wonder what.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, in a way, I wonder, does Sora's heart naturally have an inclination for darkness then? Because the darkness within a heart is what manifests itself as a heartless. And if you have an exceptionally strong heart, it becomes like Ansem, maybe. Vanitas, sorry, might be a heartless for Sora. Because if you think about it too, even after Sora regained his human form when he was a little baby heartless, or a shadow, he still has harboring darkness within his heart. That's why he can go anti-form and rage.
Yes.
So maybe he has an inclination for darkness, and he always has.
Well, there's a line in Kingdom Hearts 3. There's no spoilers here. It's just a line from it, where it was either Riku that said it or Sora. I have to go back and rewatch the scene, but they were talking to Xehanort, and one of them says, "You've been so focused on the darkness that you forgot about the light. You've been so focused on the darkness and shadow that you forgot about the light that cast them."
Yeah.
Or the light that made them. So, and I think that's a very interesting quote, because if that's so, that could actually mean that Vanitas could possibly be Sora's Heartless, because there can't be darkness and there can't be shadow without light.
That's the theme of Kingdom Hearts that I like so much. Up until this point, they've made us believe that, like, darkness is bad, light good, but that's not how the world works, and I almost want to believe that's not how Kingdom Hearts works either. You can't have one without the other, you know? And I mean, that's a pretty obvious theme in media, but even in the beginning, back in Kingdom Hearts 1, when he's on this Station of Awakening, there's like a quote that appears in the air, the way Kingdom Hearts does.
Yeah, and it's never voiced. It's never voiced either.
Yeah, it's never voiced, yeah. And it says, the closer you step towards the light, the darker your shadow grows, or the greater your shadow grows.
Yeah.
And once it says that, it shows a shadowed Sora. Like, it shows Sora's shadow, and then it starts to extend and becomes Darkseid. So again, I almost believe that, like, naturally everybody has darkness in their heart, but maybe Sora's just, he has a greater inclination for it. And that's why it manifests.
or maybe he's probably, I mean, aside from Riku, I mean, well, Riku cast his off, or
Yeah.
Riku accepted his darkness.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then, whereas I think Sora is able to utilize both the light and dark in his heart without being corrupted by either side. So I think maybe he's playing the neutral ground, or he's like
But
like they keep saying he's the chosen one. You know,
I
he's the one
almost want to
that'll.
believe though is the reason he can like walk the line of light and darkness and not be consumed by it because he doesn't have a heartless anymore. There's not that risk of falling to the darkness because it's already been extracted out of him. Because
Maybe that's a theory, yeah.
because Riku, he has such control over the darkness because he's battled with it so much. He's succumbed to it. He's let it take him. And now, as you can see, Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler, he is at peace with the darkness with him. They exist almost in like a different metaphysical level. Like it's a separate entity, you know?
Yeah.
So I
I
want to say it's almost the same with Sora.
except we don't know who. So that means maybe if Sora's nobody
Uh-huh.
is supposedly Roxas, I believe it's Ventus's nobody.
I agree.
Uh,
Yeah.
um. So that means
Yeah, I see where you're going
did
with
did Ventus's nobody take the place of Sora's nobody? Like the
this.
reason
Yeah.
why Sora doesn't have his own nobody that looks like him is
Uh-huh.
because Ventus's nobody, Roxas, took its place, or
Ooh,
or
yeah.
yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
or
yeah.
did he actually create two nobodies, Roxas and his own, Ventus's
Oh,
nobody and his
okay.
own, and we
Yeah.
still haven't seen his nobody?
That's really interesting. Yeah, that could be a possibility. That's actually really cool. Yeah. Interesting.
Because then, if that's the case, then that would indeed mean Vanitas is his Heartless. So that means
Uh-huh.
he, you know, so that would mean Sora still has a nobody that we haven't seen, and his Heartless are still there, and that would mean we could have a whole Ansem and Zendis situation all over again.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Especially with like the ending for KH3. Not even gonna say it. I'm just gonna say spoiler, but not even gonna say it. There could be some truth to that. There could be something there.
Yeah,
Um,
and
go ahead.
now, yeah, because the reason why Ventus was knocked out and a body bag at the beginning of Birth by Sleep was because that was after Xehanort had extracted the darkness, and that's why he was unconscious, basically comatose.
Yeah.
And when he was laying on the papu tree right there, he his heart found Sora,
Uh-huh.
and but Vanitas was already created at that point. So what
Yeah.
if? So that's the only hole I see there to where Vanitas could not be Sora's Heartless.
Yeah.
Because he was created before Ventus took refuge in Sora.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Um, so we spent a lot of time on Birth by Sleep, so let's go on to Dream Drop Distance. What are your thoughts?
Um, the worlds in that one, from what I played about halfway through it,
Uh-huh.
sadly, I don't know I know that's where Riku and Sora are taking the mark of mastery, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
And Sora fails, and
Mhm.
Riku becomes the master because I believe Xehanort actually took control of Sora at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets super convoluted here. They were influencing the course of the Mark of Mastery the entire time. And at one point, it's like some weird dream within a dream because they're diving into the worlds, or they're diving into the dreams of the sleeping worlds that failed to awaken when Ansem was defeated back in
The-
Kingdom Hearts 1.
I think the best way to explain it would be Kingdom Hearts Inception.
Yeah, definitely. So at the very end, it's like he dives into the final world, but it's like a fake the world that never was. And in turn, he falls asleep. Like they put him into a slumber after he fights Xemnas. And then Riku dives within his dream to try to save Sora. And it's already 3 dreams down. It's so convoluted.
Yeah, the dream below the dream below the dream.
Yeah.
That's why we were saying like it's Kingdom Hearts Inception.
Yeah, absolutely. As a whole, though, I did enjoy Dream Drop Distance. I wasn't the biggest fan of flow motion at first, and I'm still not a massive fan of it in Dream Drop Distance. I think they handled it a lot better in Kingdom Hearts 3, personally speaking. I did like the fact that it was more of a return to like more verticality, because Kingdom Hearts 1 was like the king of verticality, platforming to a T. That's the golden age of platformers. Kingdom Hearts 2 kind of abandoned platforming for more emphasis on really, really stellar combat. Dream Drop Distance, because of flow motion, they were afforded the opportunity to do more platforming, which was nice, and it had more verticality in levels. Levels scaled up, you can rail grind all the way up into like high areas, which was cool. And I think the choices of the worlds were really cool. My personal favorite, I don't know about you, but my favorite world out of every single game has always been Traverse Town. The theme, they need to make it so it will play in Disney, like Disney World and Disneyland at night. Because that would be so freaking cool. Because that song, oh my god, it's so nostalgic for me. There's been nights where I have to study for like a final, and I'll make myself a nice warm cup of tea, and I'll play the Traverse Town song, and it just de-stresses me immediately. That song is just childhood incarnate. I love it to a T. And I love the fact that we got to see more of it in Dream Drop Distance. Traverse Town has always kind of just been that central area, and then the 3 districts. In Dream Drop Distance, we saw a whole new part of Traverse Town, which was really cool. Totally different. And it features some of my favorite characters from Square Enix, which would be the gang from The World Ends With You. The game is criminally underrated, so it's great that it got some exposure in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, which is why when you guys finally see the secret ending,
Mm-hmm.
y'all are gonna be what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all we're gonna say on that, because once
Well,
you see it,
we'll get there in a topic, but
yeah,
that's all we're gonna
absolutely.
say about it in this video here. Uh, the Now I do remember a breath of fresh air world that I did go through
Uh-huh.
in Dream Drop Distance before I couldn't play it anymore. Was and it was just a breath of fresh air to actually see a new world put in that
Yeah.
hadn't been in the others, and that was the Hunchback.
Yep.
Uh,
Absolutely.
that,
100%.
however, the boss fight for that world's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
uh, for what level you are at the time, it was fucking bullshit.
Yeah. I have to agree. I like the fact that Dream Drop Distance tried to do more new worlds. Like Hunchback of Notre Dame, never been featured before and never been featured after, which is kind of disappointing, but it was just a really cool world. And then the Three Musketeers world was cool. Um, I'm blanking. What was the other one that was there?
I don't think I ever got to the Three Musketeers world. I didn't even know that was in there.
Yeah, Three Musketeers world. It shows like Donald, Goofy, and Mickey as the Three Musketeers. Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
called the
okay, yeah.
Land of the something. I can't remember. I think it's Land of Musketeers. But it was really cool. I like the fact that we also got to go back to the world that never was. I absolutely love that place. It did get a little fucky, like I said, once you beat Xemnas and you get put into a slumber. Then you're diving as Riku, and the fight against young Xehanort, there's just so much plot given there. And I'm a proud believer that like in most forms of media and like fiction, once you start introducing time travel into it, it
That's
just it gets
yeah.
so fucky real quickly.
I call it timey-wimey stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and like I put on a comment on somebody's Kingdom Hearts video a while back. I was like, it's timey-wimey stuff. Don't try to wrap your head around it. Just pray and hope that the developers actually make it have enough sense for you to understand, because
Yeah.
it doesn't do any really good to speculate timey-wimey stuff, especially with the storyline that's already so friggin' convoluted.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with Kingdom Hearts too. Like, you just kind of need to take it with a grain of salt and just be like, you know what, this is just fun, dumb. This is just fun, dumb stuff, you know? Like, the story, appreciate it for the emotional stuff. And I kind of had the belief, and Kingdom Hearts 3 kind of reaffirmed it. Everything will be answered, you know? They'll try to wrap it up in a nice, neat bow. But in doing so, they're also going to leave, like, so many new answers. Like, or not answers, but new questions. But that's just part of the fun, you know? That's just
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts.
yeah, and that's also one of the also more frustrating things in Kingdom Hearts is
Yeah.
that bring up new questions, but only answer some of the
Hmm.
older questions and still leave you hanging on the like they'll answer some of the important questions, but the most important questions they'll just leave there even though they were supposed to be answered in that game, and then you'll be like, okay, they'll be answered in the next game, and those very same questions are still not addressed.
Yeah.
And then they have to make a side game or a book or a movie to explain those answers because they didn't answer them in the first fucking place.
Hmm. Yeah.
Or they made the question remain but add more questions on top of that question about the same subject. Like, for example, the whole Roxas and Ventus situation.
Yeah. Yeah, because now we just like took it to a different level. Now we're like thinking about it even further and speculating on something that's kind of like already been closed, but at the same time, it's like we just like to know more, you know?
And as far as the next topic goes, which what is it? Is it key back cover or is it
It's kind of
this
like the set of three. So that entire like I don't know how to describe it. It's like the Keyblade War stuff. All that stuff is just very confusing. So there's, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but there's Kingdom Hearts Key, which was the browser Japan only game. And then they made it into a mobile game called
Union Cross?
Union Cross, yeah. And then there's like a new update for it after a year, and that's the one that you can download now called Union Cover, Cross Cover. I want to say.
Key back cover?
No, well that's the
Because
movie though.
that's the
That's
movie,
the
yeah.
movie. I think it's Union Cross Cover, and then there's the movie that was released in the 2.8 collection called Union Cross Back Cover, and that's like it's telling the story at the same time as the mobile game, but it's telling you what's going on in the background, hence the back cover part. And it's all about like the foretellers. I think that story is really interesting, especially now that Kingdom Hearts 3 has happened and we've seen how they went with the story and what answers they decided to wrap up. Because I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just going to say that it seems like the Keyblade War stuff and all this stuff contained within that little series, the mobile game and the back cover stuff, it seems like that stuff is going to be more poignant looking forward.
Yes, I agree. Actually, we had a discussion the other day about the Master of Masters, and as you see, we're not going to spoil it here for you about Lushu if you don't already know, so we're not going to say anything about that. So I'm going to keep this spoiler free. Just my thoughts on the Master of Masters. We noticed because when you think about it, obviously we know who Lushu is, but we're not going to say who it is. But I just want you to affirm. I'm pretty sure you'll know what I'm talking about. But who Lushu really is, I really thought that they both Lushu and the Master of Masters had the same, you know,
Yeah.
serious joking tone, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, not possible, and it
Yeah.
just I really thought for a time that the Master of Masters was actually Axel, but that's not the case at all. But the Master of Masters and Axel act and sound so much the same, and the same with Lushu. When they both
Yeah.
talk, they sound
Mhm.
exactly the same, and they all have the same mannerisms.
The,
So
the thing that almost kind of got me was, like we said, we're not going to reveal who Lushu is. I thought the person that really is Lushu would have been the Master of Masters because the personalities between the two of them, they just match so well. But now that they've revealed who Lushu is, it almost makes me speculate further who the Master of Masters could be because it was just such a out of left park reveal. And it's like, well, shit, if that's possible, like what could be possible for the Master reveal? Like, who could that be? You
yeah,
know?
I actually have a running theory on the Master of Masters. I'll keep it short, but just to give you a little taste of what my theory is. Now, I'm pretty sure this is not going to be true, but holy shit, it would be balls to the wall, like, oh my god, crazy if it actually was.
Yeah.
With Kingdom Hearts now delving into the whole timey-wimey situation,
Uh huh.
alright? What if the Master of Masters is actually Sora, who
Okay.
like, because remember, just not discussing the ending of 3, but
Uh-huh.
you remember
Yeah.
the ending of 3
Yeah.
when, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's, and so I can't say anything there, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And what if during that time he winds up there and becomes that? Uh, because maybe it would be the only way to stop what
Well,
happened.
well, I don't know about that though, because
That's why I'm saying, like, it would be balls to the wall crazy because Sora kind of does have those mannerisms.
well, no. There's a hole in that theory though, because I'm almost positive the way time travel works in the Kingdom Hearts universe, there's one restriction. You can only travel backwards. You can't travel forwards, because what's his name? Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness. Once Xehanort separated his heart, because you can only travel back in time as a heart. So when he did that, he sent Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, back to Destiny Islands to inform young Xehanort of their plans and plant the seed of, I would say, darkness? Not really. He like told young Xehanort what the future has in store for them and what he needs to do to set it right.
Well, yes,
And then,
but
but
the
wait. After that though, he had to wait out the time. That's why he was there in Destiny Islands when Sora went to the door in the little cave. He was there. He had to wait that entire time.
yeah, and but because Sora's older now, who's to say he didn't go back and to that time in the back cover movie? Who's to, because that's back in time. That's not forward.
I guess the other thing too, does a heart age? Because Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, he's pretty much stayed the same appearance the entire time. And he was in that brown cloak, so we couldn't tell what he looked like anyways.
Well,
So I mean,
he was also hunched over in that cloak too, so I'm assuming that was old Xehanort.
oh yeah, that's true. But that might put a hole in your theory though, because that means that they do age. Because
The,
Sora would have aged then if he was back in back cover as the Master of Masters. He would have to age forward then. And how would it work that there would be two? Well, actually,
the thing is, that's where the whole replica thing comes in.
oh, that's true too. Yeah, because he could just make a replica and then place the heart within there.
Because remember, the replicas take the form of the heart.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And they
body,
start to create their own heart too.
yeah, I think the bodies age, but I don't think the hearts do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, also, if we're talking about goofy, wacky characters, like Sora's pretty goofy.
I mean,
So
so
it
it's
would
not
make
a
sense.
stretch because he kind of has the mannerisms
Yeah, he does.
as
Yeah.
Master of Masters. But the thing is, I don't see Sora doing what the Master of Masters did. Although, if it was the only way to change what happened in 3,
Well, that's the thing though, because in back cover, the Master Masters makes the mention that this fate and destiny are set in stone and you cannot change them, and there's no point in changing them. He's told them that the Keyblade War was going to happen regardless. He said the thing that we need to do is prepare for the events afterwards. So I don't know
that's
if he would try to modify anything, more or less. I don't know, honestly. It's just such an ambiguous character. I couldn't really say. I don't know.
well, I know this doesn't have anything to do with Kingdom Hearts, but I'm a big Flash fan, and I watch Flash on CW.
Uh huh.
And there's this one scene in Flash where they're translating the code that Barry brought back from being imprisoned in the Speed Force for so long, and he was crazy and he was writing down all these symbols. Well, they
Uh-huh.
translated one of the sentences in those symbols, and it says time is malleable, meaning it can be changed.
Okay.
So who's to say Sora at that time when he goes back, if this is the case and he becomes the Master of Masters, who's to say that during all his travels looking for a way to stop what happened in 3, who's to say he didn't figure out a way to change it?
Yeah, that's the other thing about Kingdom Hearts as a whole as well. Like, you think, oh, there's this rule and it governs the series, and then all of a sudden, Nomura's like, no, I was lying. Like, that's not actually how the rule works. Like, this is how it really works. You know?
I mean, I know the whole Flash argument holds no weight because it's a
No, I
different,
know. Yeah.
but it's just interesting to think about because what if Nomura goes the same route? It's like time is malleable.
Hmm.
You can change subtle things.
Yeah.
Like you can't do big changes, but you can change subtle things just enough to create a new meeting. Like
Well,
for example, in the episode,
Uh-huh.
the character was supposed to walk by this girl, but the Flash's daughter, uh, set a coffee cup down, you know, at a spot under a table, and then stepped backwards to make the woman dodge her, and then the guy went to sit down at the table, knocked over the coffee cup, and the woman slipped, and then the guy that was never supposed to meet her caught her, and they met and they started dating.
What is your opinion on the Master Masters? Do you think it's a villain? I'm guessing it's a he. Is he a villain or is he a good guy?
That's going into the whole subject of Xehanort, but I'm not going to do that until we get to that topic. But as far
That's
as
true.
my opinion on the Master of Masters, is he a good
Uh-huh.
guy? I think he's a watcher. Obviously, that's
Yeah,
like somebody sent him, uh, because, for example, I don't think he's from that timeline, because how would he have known again about the Keyblade War
that's
happening
true.
if it hadn't already happened?
Yeah, because he did write the Book of Prophecies.
Yeah, and I just don't think he came down from heaven above and is like, "Hey, this is what's going to happen."
Yeah,
So,
shit, you're right. Yeah.
so I think he's from a different time, because he did mysteriously disappear, and he left
That's
that
true.
Keyblade with the gazing eye. So I think maybe he could see what's going on from any time, from anywhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
so, so I really, now, if it's not Sora, then it's going to be. And here's a fun theory: what if the Master of Masters is Kingdom Hearts?
See, that's my other thought too, because Kingdom Hearts, they've said, is the source of all light, but also a source of unbelievable wisdom. So that kind of checks out, you know?
I mean, because we still don't know, aside from vague descriptions, door to light, door to darkness. It's where all hearts return to. All
Yeah,
right,
you've never actually
but
seen what it does.
I really think in the next games we're gonna go to Kingdom Hearts at some point, like the real Kingdom Hearts, and find out what it is. But we don't know. They still haven't told us what it is. Neither do
Yeah.
we know what's in the box.
Yeah, the thing that's wild too is Kingdom Hearts has been shown in two forms. There's the natural Kingdom Hearts, which occurs when Hearts of Darkness and Hearts of Light clash against one another. It forms the Keyblade, and then the Keyblade is the key that unlocks Kingdom Hearts. But at the same time, in Kingdom Hearts 2, and also a little bit of 358 over 2 days, Xemnas is trying to build an artificial Kingdom Hearts, known as the Heart of Man. And through feeding it heartless hearts, it starts to manifest. So, is that not a real one? Like, does it have the same powers as the real one? You know? Like, what's the
Yeah,
deal with the artificial type? Because it's a different color altogether. It's a blue one versus the yellow one.
we've only seen we've seen 2 or 3 different Kingdom Hearts, so far. We've seen, because Kingdom Hearts, the Moon Kingdom Hearts, did not appear in Part 1, as far as I remember. It was just
No.
this giant door
Yeah.
in the
Are
Dark
we
World, or whatever
positive
it
that
was.
was supposed to be Kingdom Hearts?
No, because remember in 0.2, a fragmentary passage, which actually this leads into, so we might as well
Yeah.
start that discussion.
Uh-huh.
We find out that that door in Destiny Islands in the cave actually leads to where that door was. Because remember,
Yeah,
when
true.
Riku was closing the door and Sora was on the other side, and then all these Heartless attack, Riku's running, and then Aqua has to fight all that swirling Heartless, and they
Uh-huh.
pour out in through that door into Destiny Islands. That very same
Yeah.
door. So I think that door connects to that. I just think that's why at the very beginning, Xehanort says, very beginning of Kingdom Hearts, Xehanort says, "You are connected," or "This world is connected." So I believe he was talking about that this world was connected to that door.
That makes sense. So, out of curiosity, do you think back in Kingdom Hearts 1, Nomura knew where he was trying to take the series?
Oh hell no.
Okay. Yeah, just curious. Because I
Hell,
don't know if you watched this anime, One Piece. It's one of my favorite animes. Um,
not
with
sponsored by
that,
Funimation, by the way.
what's up?
I said not sponsored by Funimation, by the way.
Yeah. Um, so with One Piece though, the author, like, he's thought of everything. Even from the very beginning, he knew right from the moment it started where he wanted to take it. And there's so many moments in the show where it's like, holy hell, like that character appeared in like episode 20 and now he has importance all the way here in episode 700. It's like there is really no moment in the show where he forgot anything. So I was curious because Nomura kind of has moments like that too, where it's like, wow, that really connected pretty interestingly.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if like he really planned it out this way, you know?
No, I don't think I don't think for a second he did, because I don't think he realized just how big this series was gonna be.
Yeah.
And neither do I think Disney knew either.
Yeah.
But the whole 0.2 thing, it actually fragmentary passage, it actually connects what happens right before Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's why I like it. But as a whole, I really did not like point two fragmentary passage.
Yeah, I think well, they say it's supposed to be what happens right before 3. Yeah, it's what happens right before 3 comes out. But actually, the events connect till just right before we start Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, I can appreciate.
And at that point, Aqua in Kingdom Hearts 1, Aqua had already been in the realm of darkness for 9 years, and then at the end of 2, she had been in there for 10 years. So, yeah, 0.2 connects to what happens, I believe, just right before you start the game in Kingdom Hearts 1, because that's when he starts having those dreams of falling and shit like that.
Wait, are you sure though? Because the very end of Birth by Sleep Fragmentary Passage, she is attacked by the Demon Tower, like the swarm of Heartless.
Yeah.
And that's like right when Riku and King Mickey are closing the door. I don't think the story of Birth by Sleep Fragmentary Passage is that long though. I want to say like the stuff
you're right, because
I want to say the stuff you don't see off screen takes place during Kingdom Hearts 1, because she's probably already been there for a while. And then Fragmentary Passage is like literally right as Kingdom Hearts 1's ending.
Yeah, you're right. And
as a whole though, I can appreciate it for its story and trying to connect those last little bits. I really didn't like very much else. Like, it felt like a gimped version of Birth by Sleep. Like, the gameplay just wasn't that solid. And we're going to talk about the combat system in Kingdom Hearts 3 as a whole, because Birth by Sleep's, or Point 2, Birth by Sleep Fragmentary Passage, its combat's incredibly similar to Kingdom Hearts 3 in a lot of ways. I am just not the biggest fan of either's combats, but we'll talk about that. It also had really weird extra systems. Like, you could play dress up with Aqua, you can add accessories, and
I was not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, I was so worried they were going to add that to Kingdom Hearts 3, because that's just such a dumb idea. There's no need to have that.
I mean, yeah, it's cool that you could dress and make a character look how you want and everything, but but it's not needed, and it just adds an extra layer to unlock the secret ending, which I was not in 0.2 Fragmentary Passage. I was not going to unlock every friggin' cosmetic.
Yeah, I agree. It also just was a little jarring. It just didn't fit thematically. Like, this is a really dark, gritty story. Aqua's trapped in the realm of darkness. Like, she's literally just trying to survive. And she has time to play dress up, and she wants to look cute while in this shitty realm. It just doesn't fit. It's just an odd choice for them to have done that.
I mean, I guess they just wanted to try to pad the game until 3 came out, but...
I guess, yeah. But as a whole, though, it wasn't really supposed to be, like, a game. Because it's only 3 hours long, I'm pretty sure. It was really supposed to be kind of like a tech demo of what Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to offer.
Yeah, something to that extent. Yeah, I agree.
I can forgive a lot of things about it. Like the graphics, for instance. I thought the graphics were atrocious.
Yeah, that was the old engine before they switched it to Unreal.
I'm so glad they switched it, yeah. Like, the models were the horrible part. The actual environmental stuff was good. I didn't have much problem with that. But, like, looking at Aqua's face, it just off-putting. It just didn't look right.
Yeah, it looked. I didn't like the shine the character had when, she looked like a doll.
Yeah, it looked plasticky, and that's what I was worried about with Kingdom Hearts 3, because some of the initial trailers they had shown mainly like 2016, it started to look like that. They looked plastic, you know? So I'm happy that Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't have that issue. Although I gotta say the Hercules world was looking a little bit rough. Mainly the models.
Yeah, I
But
agree. But I did like how they did that whole throwback thing in 3 with the Toy Story world, how they actually kind of made them look plastic because,
yeah,
they are toys.
they are toys, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the Toy Story world looked actually pretty similar to me compared to 0.2.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it makes sense given that they are toys. I just could not stand Sora's like appearance in that world. I just thought it looked so dumb. And I hate the fact that for Kingdom Hearts 3, the deluxe edition or like the collector's edition, the action figures that they gave out were the freaking toys. Like the Toy Story versions of them. I get why they did that. It's cute.
Gotta sell that merch.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I thought it was a cute idea, like, oh, it's a Toy Story world. We're gonna give you guys actual toys. Like, makes sense. But oh my god, those things are hideous.
Yeah,
They could have done something way cooler.
Yeah, what they could have done is, they could have gave you a statue, everything like that for each world. So you're just not stuck with the toy one.
Yeah.
So they look like they're all their representatives from each world, and it'd be their own statue. That would have been cool.
Holy hell. That would have been cool. Or just give me the freaking chessboard, man. That chessboard's dope. I want that.
Yeah. Let's see here. And then finally, we're up to...
I think we covered the entire series. Up until Kingdom Hearts 3, which we will talk about in the future videos, right?
Yes, we will. This recording's running a little long. It's an hour, 16 minutes.
That's okay.
But we already told them it was going to be a podcast anyway, guys, so we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And we hope this conversation was actually more natural than our last video. As you saw, there was less uhs and ums and...
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a lot of fun talking about it too. Like, we got into stuff we really weren't planning. Like, we kind of just wanted to talk about our experiences with it, but we started going into like speculation and what we thought some of the things meant further than what was shown. So I had a blast. I don't know about you, Twilight.
Oh yeah, I had a really good time. But that's what I like about the whole podcast thing is you start out talking about one thing and then you just the whole natural ability of the conversation just leads you to other places, and then like you have to struggle to get back on track, and you're like okay, so that's what makes it fun. And but if you guys have any speculations or anything, let us know in the comments down below. As far as topics go, I believe the next topic in the next video that we are going to talk about, we talked about the evolution and our experience of Kingdom Hearts, and all the other games. So I believe now, what are we going to be talking about next on so they have an idea of what to look forward to.
Yeah, so now that we've kind of covered where this series has been, we're now going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 more in the beginning about the mechanics. So what we were talking about is doing a discussion about the combat system, some of the omitted changes, things that just didn't make it into the game. Our take on the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3, when it appeared on the Xbox, they didn't have an HD collection, and why we thought the memory archive was a little bit lacking. After that, we're going to be talking about some other features of Kingdom Hearts 3 and some things that were also missing. And then we are going to be talking about the future of Kingdom Hearts. So,
so I think at the beginning of the next video, guys, we're going to start talking about the Kingdom Hearts 3 story. So there will be major spoilers in that one, but we will also remind you at the video's start. We're also going to try to pre-do these podcasts and everything so that we can actually have content day to day instead of having you wait weeks for the content. So I think we're going to do one more podcast today, and then it's probably not going to be as long as this one, hopefully, and then that way we have a day 1 and a day 2 video.
That sounds good.
And
But
so that's going to be the end of this one, and we are actually going to start talking about the game here in a minute, but
yeah,
that's going to be a separate video. So this video is going to go up today on both Sweatahvest channel and my channel, so feel free to check them out. And then tomorrow, the second video will be uploaded.
yeah. Well, I hope you
Uh,
guys enjoyed. If you guys have any comments, any suggestions, or just things you want to talk about, speculation, drop it down in the comments below. If you really liked it and you want to support this series, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, Sweatahvest, as well as Twilight here. I'm going to leave his information down in my description, and he'll do the same for me. Leave a like, and we'll see you in the next video.
yep, guys, and have a good one.